going to be talking about a Pixar film that I have never spoken about on my channel before. A film that, well, no one has really spoken about since the end of 2015. The Good Dinosaur, because despite some great animation, and I mean great animation, this film has very quickly disappeared off the surface of the earth. Kind of like the dinosaurs. Except that doesn't happen in this film. That was a terribly worded joke. So yeah, today I'm going to be discussing how The Good Dinosaur became Pixar's forgotten film. And I guess if you're a future Pixar filmmaker, this would be a tutorial on what not to do, in my opinion, which is basically worthless, I guess. I just want to make it very clear right from the start that I by no means think The Good Dinosaur is Pixar's worst film. It's like mid to low tier in my opinion. Not the best, not the worst, but interestingly that might be a contributing factor to why it's been so quickly forgotten. If it was so atrociously bad and by far Pixar's worst film, people would remember it for that reason. Like, it's actually worryingly common how often the worst films become the most popular memes. Like, we're a really weird species, aren't we? But when it comes to The Good Dinosaur, I would go as far to say as I don't think I've ever seen a Good Dinosaur meme before. Not one! I don't even think they exist. I could make the first one. Okay, so I've got this screenshot from the film, which I think will make a good meme format. It's like Spot protecting Arlo, like all angry, and Arlo's kind of confused how Spot, being so small, is protecting him. And that's going to be the meme format. I'm going to make a few of these memes and see how people like them. I'm going to post them on Twitter or something. J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter fans who blindly support everything she does. BTS, they're fans. I feel like this one could get me killed on Twitter, but also that would just prove the point of the meme, so it's appropriate. Minion memes, 50-year-old women on Facebook. The original Star Wars trilogy. Fans who hate all the new Star Wars material since then. You get it? Because fans unnecessarily hate on the new stuff in protection of the original. Okay, so people on Twitter really love this meme, so maybe this is gonna be like a future big meme. I got sent a few of your own, and yellow Seamus. I don't like red Seamus. There's never been a yellow Seamus, so. Me, my mum harassing a sales associate. Dinosaur child. Zack Snyder, DCU superfans. Am I gonna be the one to have to say that Wonder Woman is a significantly better film than Shazam? Because I feel like I'm gonna have to be the one to say it. Bucky, Cap. The Good Dinosaur's becoming a meme. It's happening. Okay, sorry, I just went so far off topic. I'm starting to wonder, what's this video? How The Good Dinosaur became so forgotten. And let's start with the most important reason, in my opinion. No one went to see it. Almost. Like, I'm pretty sure a large portion of people just watching this right now haven't seen the film. It was Pixar's lowest grossing film ever, and that's not adjusted for inflation or anything. It made less than A Bug's Life and Toy Story, which came out nearly 20 years before. That's like hard to put into words. No, okay, it's not really. It didn't do well at the box office. Meaning, therefore, logic dictates people didn't go see it, and presumably haven't seen it. Why am I making a video on this? No one's even seen the film. No one's gonna watch this. Like, I saw it, if that's any consolation, but it probably isn't. This was Pixar's first ever flop. I'm not kidding. Pixar went 20 years making films where each and every one of them made profit at the box office until The Good Dinosaur. Even Cars 2 made profit at the box office. Interestingly, Cars 2 is actually the highest grossing Cars film, so take it that way you will. Which I guess raises the follow-up question. Why did no one go see this film? Because if I remember correctly, it wasn't under-advertised, and the majority of people who went to see it enjoyed it enough. And I guess that's where timing comes in. You see, The Good Dinosaur was actually a really interesting release, because it was the first time Pixar ever made 2 films in 1 year. And the fact it was following Inside Out earlier that year really didn't help its case. Because, I mean, if someone refers to Pixar's film from 2015, no one's thinking of The Good Dinosaur. No one. It was also released just a few weeks before The Force Awakens, which went on to make $2 billion at the box office. While you might not imagine that the audiences of these 2 films overlap that much, in the section where they do, who in their right mind was going to see The Good Dinosaur over The Force Awakens that Christmas? Like, the only people I can think of are parents who think their children are too young for Star Wars, so basically anyone over 6 was going to The Force Awakens. But realistically, the poor timing of the film's release shouldn't have been enough to make it fail on its own. If it had been a genuinely wonderful film like Inside Out, word of mouth would have been enough to get people watching. If that didn't mean at the cinemas, it would have at least had a bit of success when it came to its home release. But that didn't happen either, so I guess we've got to talk about what went wrong with the story. And well, where do I start? This film was so unlike Pixar. I got the impression they just had the mindset of, oh yeah, kids love dinosaurs, this will be huge, without actually putting a second thought into the story they were working with, which as stories go, wasn't their best. I also think this film came at a time where the whole Pixar just want to make you cry meme was at its peak. It was almost as if they were like, yeah, this is our brand now. We're gonna make this film as sad as possible without even trying to make it good. Which is just not Pixar. Like, if you look at Pixar's saddest films like Up, Inside Out, Toy Story 3, it's always a bittersweet sadness. You've got Ellie passing away, but only because of that, Carl gets to have the adventure of his own that he always wanted. You have Bing Bong sacrificing himself so Riley quite literally can be happy again. Then there's Andy, who gives his toys away and says, thanks guys, which is so sad, but you know the toys are going to have a better life with Bonnie than they would have in his attic. The Good Dinosaur, on the other hand, feels like it's trying to be sad just for the sake of being sad. Arlo's dad dies trying to catch Spot because that's what needs to happen for the plot to go forward. Spot reveals that his parents are dead too, so him and Arlo can have something to relate over. Like, I mean, they could have bonded over something else. While I guess that one kind of has a bittersweet payout eventually, it just creates another depressing scene where Arlo has to let Spot go. Like, I feel like they went into overkill, and I'd have done it very differently if I'd been in their shoes, so that's what I'm trying to say. There's also the argument that this film was purely made just to show how much their animations come on in the last 20 years. Which I guess fair enough. Only problem is they didn't really use their animation to their advantage. Because yeah, well, the nature shots looked perfect, almost real. The dinosaurs and animals looked, how can I put this nicely, out of place, causing it to take away from the wonderful animation throughout the film. Like, there's no questioning that a film can sell from animation or CGI alone. Avatar is literally the highest grossing film in the world. And don't start saying the story behind Avatar is great. It's been scientifically proven not one person can name a single character from that film. Point is, if Pixar were trying to show off their animation, they probably should have cut out the dinosaurs. They should have made a film like Piper, but like full length. Something like that. Maybe there's a reason why I don't work for Pixar. I guess, in conclusion, what makes everything that happened with The Good Dinosaur so strange is that before now, we'd never really had an evanescent Pixar film before. Like, there have been films that over time people don't talk as much about anymore, like, I don't know, A Bug's Life, or even Ratatouille. But I honestly feel like you could put that down to they, unlike the films that came out around them, don't have sequels. Incredibles had a sequel last year. Cars had one the year before. Finding Nemo had one the year before that. And Toy Story is getting its fourth this year. And realistically, these films would also be less remembered if it wasn't for their sequels. What sets A Bug's Life and Ratatouille aside from The Good Dinosaur is that people have seen these films in numbers and like them significantly more. Like, they definitely make my pretty good tier and have memorable moments that I will remember for the rest of my life. I remember when Flick made the leap with the dandelion, just chills, just from the music, every time. But compare this to The Good Dinosaur, where could you imagine if someone made a reference to that 21 years after it came out? 2036. Could you imagine if someone made a reference to The Good Dinosaur in 2036? Lots of people wouldn't even know the film existed, which is why it's so different to every other Pixar film and hopefully unlike Pixar films for years to come, because it's already fading into the abyss just 3 years after its release. I guess maybe I've made this video and tried to start the Good Dinosaur meme to commemorate its memory and make it live on longer than it would have done without. So I say go watch The Good Dinosaur. Don't base your opinion on it off of what I've said. Go watch it for yourself and make your own opinion. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking here. You can watch another video by clicking here. You can check out my Patreon here and in the description down below. You can also go check out my social medias at seamusgorman4 and at gormanseamus in the description down below as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Let's make it a meme. Let's make it viral, guys.